we're going to move on to question 2. And just so you're aware of the order, Mayra, you'll be answering first on this one. Vicky, you'll be second. Tom, you'll be next. And then Joe. And Karen, you'll bring us home on this next question. So the next question is this. How will you balance the needs of the development and business communities with the needs of your existing residents if or when they differ? And so that question will be going to you first, Mayra.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, so the general plan outline is the blueprint for where development will happen. And I think what is important for me as something that I have already been doing prior to this campaign is really understanding all of the new development that's coming in or planned, and also understanding, talking to many folks within the city around what development is really going to bring to the community, right? Development for the sake of development. It shouldn't be. We need to ensure that the development that we bring in the area is really improving the city and is bringing assets to the community, right? So folks should be able to work and live in Woodland. I think that's an opportunity that certainly I am enjoying, and I really am thankful for that opportunity. As new projects come about, we need to make sure that any impacts to existing residents or neighborhoods are addressed through the development process. So one of the thoughts that I have is to really expand on that engagement of community members that we have to ensure that there is a perspective and that mitigation for any negative impacts are addressed. So we in District 5 are really, really lucky. We have a huge knowledge base with a lot of folks like the ones that are putting together this forum that we should tap into. I think there's that knowledge base to ensure. There's the informal leaders that we discussed about. I think it's important in engaging and discussing the developments and the issues to ensure that the overall net benefit to the community is greater than the some of the potential negative impacts, if any. You know, I truly believe through collaboration we can mitigate some of these issues that come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayra. Okay, same question is coming to you, Vicky.
I'm sorry. I think I'm unmuted now.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I think that we see a lot of the development occurring down in the southeast area of Woodland, and a lot of the development that is in our general plan seems to focus on the southeast area. So I think that District 5 is gravely impacted by a lot of the new development that's occurring. I think our city council has tried to infill a development within the urban core of Woodland so that we can also maybe curtail some of that urban sprawl out into our ag land. So I think that while attending city council meetings, I've heard the council trying to encourage developers to build and compromising as far as within number of affordable housing within Woodland. So I think that as a Woodland resident and as a parent, you'd like to have your children be able to afford to live in Woodland. So I think that developers are maybe being encouraged to build, and we've loosened maybe some of the restrictions within the city as far as the number of parking spaces or the amount of homes that they're able to build within a square footage of property. So I would like and would hope that that our developers would in turn share some of those savings that they're perhaps making within their development for Woodland residents. So the prices of homes or the price of rent would be reduced to reflect the city's concept of having affordable housing for residents. And so even though the council has reduced their percentage from 20% to I believe 10% of their development to be for low-income housing, that perhaps they could share in some of their prosperity when they're building in our city, so that it provides opportunities for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. Tom, it's your turn.
Thank you. Well, I would just like to start off by saying that economies are dynamic, just as communities are dynamic. Businesses come and go, and so we always have to be working at building our business community. We need those jobs, we need better paying jobs, because those are opportunities for our residents. And it's interesting to note that Woodland actually has as many jobs as it has working people. Half of our people, they'll leave the community every day, and half of the jobs are filled by people who come into the community every day. So in that respect, I support the Woodland Research Park, which is going to be at County Road 25A and 113. I recently voted yes for 2 additional housing developments in the Spring Lake area because they were bringing substantial new housing at a lower price point than most of the existing housing in Spring Lake. You know, my job as a councilman has been to listen to everyone. I always do listen. I try to harmonize everybody's interests to the best I can. And when they can't be harmonized, I have to make a decision. And I try to remember that when I'm voting at the city council, I'm voting on behalf of 60,000 people, not perhaps one or two or a handful of unhappy people. So we try to do it in the most courteous and humane way. But staying open until the very end is always important. So I'm sure I'm hearing all the input and making the best decision. In the last case of a housing development that was opposed by some of the Spring Lake residents, we were able to add 2 off-street parking spaces to help eliminate or reduce the concerns about parking. But again, businesses leave, so we have to be thoughtful about those businesses. I regularly visit members of our business community to make sure they know we want to help them and keep them here if we can in all cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And so I'll say the question again before we get to the next candidate to answer, which will be Joe. And so Joe, the question is this: how will you balance the needs of the development and business communities with the needs of your existing residents if or when they differ?
Yes, well, I've been endorsed by the North State Building Industry Association. And so I'm already currently in conversations with home developers to look at empty lots that we have available and do infill and be smart about our development. And really, I don't see it as urban sprawl. I see Woodland as a growing city that used to be a town, really, when I was little. But now it's a growing city, and we have a lot of folks coming into Woodland. But we have just the same amount of people leaving. And so a lot of my friends that went to Woodland High or Pioneer that have multiple jobs, they can afford a house. It's just that they can't afford a house in Woodland, in the old part or the new part. So they're moving to places like Yuba City where it's cheaper. And so we can't build enough for the amount of people that want to come to Woodland. Woodland's a great place to come to. So I want to be smart about growth and doing infill with the right builders for the right neighborhoods. And so it's not, it doesn't look different from all the, the neighborhood has to keep its identities. And so I'd really like to see houses that are between the 350 and 500 range. I know they had just approved the 2 additional housing developments, but they start at 450,000. And so we need homes that are around 400 to 500,000. And just to end, I'd like to see stronger language in the contract so that we actually get things that are promised from the developers, like the fire station, the middle school, the elementary school that was built way after it was due. They should have been built before. And so we have to have strong language and have our lawyers really look at the language when we're making future development plans, because we can't lose out on promises that were made. So we got to make sure that they come through with the promises that were made.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank
you. Okay, and now Karen.
Thank you so much. So I put people over profits. Sometimes that's residents, sometimes that's business, because at the end of the day, businesses are owned by people, especially our local businesses. I'm pro-labor and I'm pro-union. I believe that we can find win-wins. We just may have to work a little bit harder to find them. That's one of the reasons why a downtown transformation is part of my platform. it's a big win-win for everybody. I am also pro infill as opposed to building out more. We have a great little infill project not too far from my house on Lincoln. And it's just fabulous, really, really cute, and has provided a number of apartments for folks who really needed them. I'm a huge proponent of affordable housing, and Woodland needs more of it. As we do grow, I believe we must be careful to avoid gentrification. We must also put the needs of the whole above the desires of individuals, no matter how much money or influence they have. I'm a person who will reach out to anybody and everybody to try to find out what everybody thinks and to make the best decisions for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And so that concludes our second question.